Welcome to episode 3 or 4. What is it, Mike? 4?
I'm going to say four.
Let's say 8 because we're so good at this. Um, I want a proposal to change the name. The Alex Cora Center for Kids is fine. That's great, but no one. I was complaining to you. We're a no fun league. We should be the league of no fun. I don't want to do NFL. It's just no one cares anymore about what we're talking about.
We're the league of ordinary gentlemen.
The league of four ordinary people that talk back and forth. I see the people you can like swipe on WhatsApp to see who sees your comments, and
Yeah.
everyone is looking, everyone's lurking. Just let us have some of your personality. I mean, we're talking into the abyss here too. Who watches this?
Yeah.
I think it went up from last week. We had 4 on the
Yeah.
last.
Somebody on the internet misclicked, I think. That's all. Yeah.
Trying to pull it up. Maybe it was the picture of Keston Hiura who drew
Turn
the
people away.
thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went from 13. This is episode 4. So we went from 13 to 3 to 4. So we'll try our best here to give the
It's our
people.
fault because we weren't consistent.
Yeah, that's the problem.
We'll say, yeah. We'll let the league off the hook.
So Mike has a really cool idea for a segment here. Adam was supposed to be on here. He may join, like last week, the last 6 minutes. Um, we'll go into that. That'll be our main topic, main story.
Yeah.
We have some things we'll talk about. Anything that you see in this league right now, in Major League, not our league, that's I know you have some things you want to talk about, but anything that off the this week that caught your attention? I try my best to look
Um,
outside of the Braves.
so right now the Phillies, you blink and now the Phillies have the best record in baseball. They've won
9 straight.
nine in a row.
Yeah,
Yep. But they played the Pirates, the four against the Rockies, and now they're playing the Athletics. So
I heard there's
game,
some people are complaining about the stadium. The A's are complaining about Sacramento.
it's looking the one. It seems both teams' outfielders are struggling with. There's like uh, it seems to be an extra amount of foul territory. So you see the right fielders and first baseman running, and then they like stop up and they have like 5 yards still before they. So there was a couple plays where the balls dropped, and it looks like they could have got it. Like their Lawrence Butler had two, Bryce Harper had one. They were running and they pulled up like they thought they were about to hit the wall, and the ball dropped, and the wall was like way over there.
Interesting. So is it
Yeah,
like they're used to a certain
I think they're just
distance?
not used to this ballpark,
Yeah.
and it's
Funny
funny
that
to
they moved.
watch because the clubhouses are actually in the outfield behind the wall. So if a player is like pissed in the dugout, they have to like walk all the way to the outfield and through the outfield fence and out to the clubhouse if they want to get away.
It's just all the comments on the Athletic about the situation. It's just they're not even recognizing them as the Sacramento A's. They could have had some interesting
Cool
merch.
gear. Yep.
Yeah, maybe a City Connect for Sacramento would have been a cool thing.
Yeah,
But
it reminds me a lot of I just was rewatching Moneyball and David Justice and that. It's like what I have to pay $1 for soda. Like what that's basically the A's entire organization right now.
seriously, yeah, yeah, they
Yeah.
treat them like major leaguers right now.
Yeah. Yep.
They're hoping that it just goes, next year. I guess they're trying to be in Vegas. Is that
Yeah. That's the plan, I guess, if there is a plan.
if there is a plan? So I don't. Are we hearing the same stuff from the Rays? I don't think. I think that's more of a major league stadium.
Yeah, that I guess that's a little more ready. Theirs is going to be weird once the summer really kicks up because they won't be there much. They're playing the majority of their games in the
Oh
first
yeah.
half of the season there, so
Well, I heard
be interested to
Sacramento
see
gets
how their
hot.
record is. Yeah, I'm sure
They're
it does. Yeah.
so they're in for it over there too.
Yep.
Um,
And then there was a couple weird plays.
yeah,
I know there was two in the Dodgers Mets game the other night. Rules that I'd never knew existed, or it just never popped up. There was a ball to the outfield. Um, Runner at second was going to tag at third, and it was Tyrone Taylor and I think Nimmo were both going for the ball. It hits the right fielder's glove. and he bobbles it, and then Taylor catches it, and the runner tagged once Nimmo touched it first, and that was legal. So you don't have to wait for the ball to be caught. It's the first player that makes contact you can tag.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I'd never seen it. It may have just never that situation might not have come up in a game I've watched before. None of the players knew either. So
Is that in the rule book? So the umpires
yeah,
knew?
and then another one that I'm thinking they may have told the umpires to emphasize this just this weekend is player interference on like fly balls. So there was another play. Starling Marte is at third, and Max Muncy is playing third, and the ball goes to the outfield, and Marte goes to tag up, gets thrown out at home, and then they say he's safe because Muncy was blocking Marte's view of seeing the ball get caught. And Muncy was like, "Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Every third baseman does that on every single play." And it was the first time it's ever been called. They called it twice in that Dodgers Mets game.
One for each team or both for the Mets?
I'm not sure what the other one was, but Muncy was the one they were talking about. Yeah,
That's interesting. You're supposed to know where you're standing to not block the
that's what
view.
he said. He's like, I was watching the ball get caught just like he was.
And how does Mark did Marte complain? Like I couldn't see, or did he just?
He didn't even. It wasn't. I don't even think the Mets appealed or anything. I think the umpires just made the call in real time.
That's weird.
It was bizarre.
The first one's a very cool instance where
Mm-hmm.
you point to certain things that happen in baseball, and you're kind of like, that's what makes baseball unique and interesting.
Yep. Yep.
The fact that you could see something new every night. I think we talk about it every time we're on this thing, how baseball gives you a little piece that, to a layman that doesn't really care about baseball, they'll be like, what are you even talking about? But someone
Mm-hmm.
that's watched the game, knows the game, and then something like that happens, you're kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm still learning. I'm almost 40 and I'm
Yeah. There's still stuff I don't know. That's similar to what we were talking about last week. How difficult it is to teach kids how to play. Like there's rules that you have these got major leaguers that have played the game their entire life and they don't even know about these rules.
right. I think back to Donovan McNabb thinking that what he said a game couldn't end in a tie or
Yeah.
could,
Yeah.
but that one seems a little more elementary than this one.
And that's happened. There's almost a tie every season now since that. It
Right.
seems like, or multiple.
Yeah. We had to make sure a rule in our Survivor League. A tie is a loss.
Yeah.
Um, One thing, just to point to the Braves, Acuna's back. And just from my point
Yes.
of view, Friday, we were supposed to do the pod Friday, but just wasn't happening. Our kids were sick and it was just a rough day there. So we did watch Acuna come back and it was a big family thing. And first pitch, home run. That's another one of those. I wanted to say it because you're like, this is the magic of baseball.
Yep.
Even my kids felt it. Like they just, the quote we had about, I forgot about a quote this episode, but Harrison saying he's sweaty because he feels it. You feel the
Yeah.
tension as they get older and grow into this game. They recognize that that was fun. I mean, they were
Yep.
like wide-eyed. Acuna hit a home run.
It was
Um,
awesome. I'm not even a Braves fan. It was awesome. It's great. That's another. It's great for baseball when Ronald Acuna is healthy. Like,
yeah. I'm watching him like take it easy. They hit a ball to the wall and he's like going after it and like he has to hold up. I think he's
yeah,
wearing braces on both knees under the pants because he has both ACL tears. So yeah, I'm just
yeah,
nervous for this guy. I am playing against him. That's why I was like, this is great. He's back, but then
yeah,
back-to-back days of home runs that aren't
yeah,
going well for me. And it's interesting. That's always the fun part of fantasy. You're like kind of rooting against your team, but also happy it's happening. It's an interesting dynamic there.
yeah.
Anything else? So we have Rockies are on pace for the worst record ever.
Yep.
Or we already did that last year. So it's
They did beat the Yankees the other day, and
once,
then the Yankees scored 13 yesterday to get revenge. So
but they're on pace to be worse than the White Sox.
yeah, they had the worst fit. They started their first 50 games. They were 8-42. So
And
yikes.
that's terrible. I mean, I don't even know how did they get to 30 wins? They're not,
That's the thing. They may go the entire season without winning a series. So that's something to watch.
man.
And
Um,
yeah, also Aaron Judge, two career games in Coors Field, two home runs.
so I think if he ever gets out of that contract with the Yankees, he can
Go!
end.
Oh my God, he'll hit
Um,
a hundred home runs if he plays for the Rockies.
that's what all these guys should do. Like Ozuna, just who is a DH, just go to Colorado.
Yeah,
Um, what else is going on? So you pointed to the Phillies. They are now. So the Mets are in second.
yeah, they're 3 games back now.
So the Phillies caught fire against those teams.
Yep,
It's good. You have to beat teams like that. It's good for them.
that's yeah. You exactly. You beat the teams you're supposed to beat.
I see the Reds are doing a little better, but it seems like the Cubs are winning that
Yeah,
division.
Cubs are still playing really well.
Um, just to go through those standings, yeah, Philly, New York. Well, St. Louis has played really well out of nowhere. For the offseason, they didn't do anything, and then I think they've won like they only have won two in a row here, but they were winning series after series, and they had like a little streak like the Phillies, and they're only two back of the Cubs here. So the Cardinals are something now to watch, putting it
Hmm.
together. Um, Dodgers can't help but root against them. The Giants are surprising there. Padres had fallen off. I think they lost six straight, beat the Braves Friday, then they lost again last night. So they're in a bad spot too.
Yeah.
I see the Rockies 9 wins,
Oh,
but
there was a. It. I almost forgot because it was last weekend, but good pitching debut. The Phillies brought up a guy for a spot start, Mick Abel.
yeah, you won seven, right?
Yep, and I think he had like 10 strikeouts or something like that. I picked him up and I streamed him.
Oh,
I've watched him since he got drafted. I've had him on my watch list. So, but
okay.
he was coming up because they Nola's on the IL, but Taiwan Walker has taken his spot in the rotation, which
Oh yeah, because they
I'm
know
as a Mets fan, I'm fine with that. Let Taiwan Walker do it.
he's having a better year this year than last year.
No, they have. That's the thing is they him and like Christopher Sanchez. Sanchez didn't have a great game last night, I don't think, but
Rangers Suarez. I mean, they
yeah,
have players that are if they can get everyone healthy. Suarez.
their struggle is going to be their bullpen, especially with Alvarado out for the season now with the PED
How about
suspension.
that?
Yeah,
Immediately says it's a weight loss thing, but no
yeah,
appeal.
yeah. The people at Ozempic are shaking, hoping it's not them.
Right. But that hurts because you can't play in the playoffs like Profar for
Yep.
the Braves.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yankees, let's go to American League. Boston's at 500 in second place, 5.5 back.
Yep. They also made a big call up Marcelo Meyer yesterday for the second game of the doubleheader. I'm not sure how he did, but I believe Testa might have him.
He's always getting those
Yeah. And then I did notice immediately after Alec Boehm hit a home run last night, Kyle picked him up
after, or
after.
he's just waiting. Come on, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Um, Baltimore, I can't believe what's happening there. That's just sad for that team. Um, they don't have any pitching. Detroit still on fire, and they're getting people back off the
Yep.
IL. Parker Meadows and Matt Vierling coming back, and I think they have a
Yep.
pitcher,
Yeah, I believe the Twins are getting some guys back out with IL as well.
Wallner. I know Correa is back.
Yep. I just picked Correa up. I needed Bregman's on the IL now, so he got hurt yesterday in the first game of the doubleheader.
We
So
went
that's
on
gonna hurt.
IL immediately.
Yeah, yeah. Or actually he got hurt the other night. He went out early and they decided to put him on the IL.
So Detroit's lost three in a row. They're 5-5 over the last 10. Cleveland won four in a row. They're 5-5 over the last 10. Minnesota has won two in a row. They're 8-2 over the last 10. I know Minnesota had that streak going too. So that's a great,
Yep.
I mean, even Kansas City right there, they've lost two in a row, but they're only five back. That'll be a fun division to watch, I think.
There's it seems like this year that right now, and it could just be that it's still May, but there's a lot of teams uh right like huddled together record wise. And then there's like a few really bad teams. But for the majority, it felt like there was some teams that were really gonna separate to start the year, and now they're not.
You're right. Yeah. I mean, even Seattle had a great start, still does, and they're only up 2.5 on the Astros, who are only two over 500.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of people are like either 500 or one under or two under. So,
Yeah, especially in
somebody.
those I think the central divisions, both of them, yeah, are pretty tight.
Um, all right, cool. Well, that's a good representation of where Major League Baseball's at. Shall we update on fantasy real quick and then we'll get into your.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so fantasy. Speaking of mine, I'll be selfish and talk about mine. I've been getting wrecked by Paul all week. It's one of those weeks I was going to complain that I've had bad luck because Bailey Ober got a weather reduced, how do you say, weather
Oh,
affected
a
start.
delay. Yeah,
And he
I hate
came
that.
pitched 2 innings, done. Same with Clayton Kershaw, same thing happened,
Yep.
done. But I think the same thing happened to Paul once. And then we were supposed to, both of us had a pitcher scratched last night. So I can't complain.
Yeah, I had interesting. I had never had this happen to me. Walker Bueller came back from injury, and I looked, and he went 2 1/3. I'm like, "Fuck, he's hurt again." They're like, "Nope, he got ejected
Oh, I
for
saw that.
arguing balls and strikes." So, yeah,
Well, that umpire, that was actually, that's something we could talk about. That umpire just like went after him.
yeah,
I mean, it was a bad call by the umpire. And then Bueller was asking about it. And he kept telling him to get back on the mound, and he's on the mound.
yeah.
So it was like, what? And then he threw him out. And then Cora came out, got thrown out. It was just a weird umpire move.
Yeah,
I'm, each year, each day, I'm getting closer. I mean, I'm there now. I want the strike zone. Even my daughter will be like, "That's not a strike," and I'm like,
it's bad.
It's almost like they're getting worse on purpose,
They're intentionally tanking. Yeah.
just to be like, "What are you gonna do about it?" But I don't know if they'll. I don't know. I don't know if they'll actually do it. I was watching a college game and they had to go to the replay to see a guy if he was safe at third or something.
Hmm.
Umpire has to run all the way into left field, one guy. So you're waiting on that. He goes back there, gets on the headphones, comes back out. It was a long delay. I'm
Yeah,
waiting for it to just be confirmed. You're like, that was worse. Like, MLB has better, obviously.
yeah. They need to get it like the like tennis, where it's just on a big screen, so then you can have the crowd like,
Exactly.
oh, like
Oh.
that's the best. Those are the best replays.
And they
Yeah,
have that's great graphics too.
yeah, yep.
So yeah, I'm losing 9-5. It's kind of close. I'm hoping for a tie each week. These last 3 weeks, I'm like, maybe I'll tie it. So that's where I'm at in my fantasy
Hmm.
life. But talk
I'm
about
tied as
yours.
well. Yeah, I'm tied this week right now with Brian, I
Okay.
believe.
Well, good because he's up top. He's high up there too.
Yeah. So we're it looks like it's going to come down to some pitching categories today, so should be interesting.
I'm
But
searching
my
for
team's
that.
my team's hitting well this week. I my bats fell like the week I played you. I don't think my team hit very much that week.
Yeah.
Um, they are now, thankfully, because my pitching, it's every time I have a pitcher come back from injury, I have one go out for injury. It feels like so. It's a struggle right now starting.
Yeah.
I've had to be very active watching who people are dropping to get on that waiver wire quickly.
Never a good time.
No.
But yeah, I guess how many moves do you do? A lot of moves this year? Have you made a lot of acquisitions?
Some weeks I do. So like this week I'll be close to this. I think I made six this week, and I haven't hit those seven. But there's some weeks I make one, some weeks I make none.
Yeah.
Depends how my pitching lines up most weeks. If I can get a couple guys with two starts, I try not to stream. But
Hmm.
if I have a like if I have a Mason Miller blow up or something like that early in the week, I have to just to chase strikeouts and wins pretty much.
Isn't that annoying when you're a reliever early? I went, I was like suiting up coming into this week. I was like, nice. I picked up a reliever. He hadn't given up a run in like
Yep.
12 starts, 12 appearances. He gave up that Monday, he gave up two, lost, blown the save. And you're like, my team would have been fine if I didn't make that move. That would be nothing to me. But because I picked him up Monday, that happens.
Yeah,
All of
Miller
a
is
sudden,
he's getting eaten alive by the Phillies. He's two games in a row. They're hitting. He came out twice and he's gotten bombed both, giving up a home run in both games.
yeah, that's the Sacramento Athletics.
Yep. Yeah, Sacktown.
Um, you're right about that. Early in the week, if you get beat up early, you kind of play that. That's how it happened
Yep,
to me. Tanner
yep,
Hawk, 11 earned runs on Monday. You're all of a sudden trying to make up for other stats,
yep.
and that's where you make the seven
It's
pick.
almost a blessing if you have two quick losses because then you're like, all right, I'll just chase wins and strikeouts. For
Hmm.
the ERA and losses and WHIP might just be a wash this week. Let's just go after those couple stats, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Um, yeah, so all right, Loot is beating Adam 8-4-2 going into today. Looks like there are some close spots there. Loot is doing pretty well this year too. So him and Adam, I mean, there's some good matchups. You and Brian, me and Paul kind of close to the top. Loot and Adam, I think Adam was falling, but closer to the top. Here's someone that's falling. Keith
Yeah,
has 0 home runs this week.
saw that.
Testa's up 11-3, and that's good for Testa. Their pitch, I mean, Testa had a really good week. His ERA is low. That's where Keith probably could have made up for it. I mean, they're close there, but wow, 0 homers. That's hard to sleep at night.
That's tough.
Um,
That's a quiet phone when you're not getting one that who someone has hit a home run alert on your
yeah,
phone.
sad. Nope, no
Yeah.
texts, no notifications. He could change his team name. No notification.
Yeah. Silent
Patrick's
mode.
been climbing. Patrick's
Yeah.
slowly getting up there. He's winning against Kevin only by it's 8-6. Same for Chad over Tom. Tom is, he sent out those roto standings and he's close to the top there. And he beat me last week. And I'm technically above him. And well, I am above him in standings, but
Hmm.
I was low. I was like the second worst on that roto. And it makes sense. I'm not doing anything special. It's just
Yeah,
Patrick.
Tom's bit has been bit by the category bug this year, definitely. The head-to-head category bug because he's just getting he's having a little less good of week of whoever he's playing, kind of.
I mean, he's crushing and hitting right now,
Yeah.
but he's losing technically in pitching, but by a little bit. I mean, 8-6, that's about a tie. All right, Chris, taking it to Kyle, 11-3. That might flip some things. I know Kyle hasn't really been that great. Oh, his ERA is 7.15. Yeah, that can't be good. Good for Chris. And then a tie with you. Yep, there we go. I got to you. You
Yep.
and Brian. You think you can pull something out this Sunday?
Uh, I don't know what I think I'm up what I can be up. Maybe what's I don't have it in front of me, but maybe wins. I might be able to. I think I'm up in wins. I'm not sure, but he's got me. If I can get my whip down today, I have two starters. I can maybe steal that, but I'm up in strikeouts. I'm trying to stay up in what I'm up, so it might just be a tie when we're done
Yeah.
this week.
I mean, I
Because
got beat.
my team's hitting, but they just kind of stopped running. That was like my strength to start the year, and now it's
Yeah.
I have a bunch of fast guys, but they're not really running right now. It's Wyatt Langford's my only guy consistently stealing bases right now.
I don't even have someone that steals, and I thought I would be good at that this year based on my draft.
Yeah. And it might be steals might just be down a little bit. They were way up last year when they changed the
Right.
base sizes and the pickoff moves and all that. And now it might have cooled off a little bit.
So yeah, might be some movement in the standings. I actually lost last week and moved up in the standings. So it's just funny how that works. Sometimes I'm getting closer to 500, but growing in the standings. So maybe some people this week looks like much of the same.
Yeah, I think a lot of people might be rooting for Brian and I to tie because then it gives people a chance to jump up a little bit, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. All right. Why don't you introduce this segment?
Yeah, so we're doing the unit draft, the classic unit draft. So we're doing top out of the last 10 years, we're each gonna pick an infield, an outfield, and a pitching staff. And then we'll let our four listeners decide who picked the better team.
Well, you say last 10 years. I have a couple. We did expand it for Adam, a DEI hire, expanded him to 20 years.
I think
I
mine will
actually,
still hold up.
I actually have a team from two teams within that time frame. So, but we can,
Okay, good.
but
I
anyway.
thought we decided 10. That's my bad. I
Oh,
thought Adam said, okay, fine. I can
oh,
do
that's
that.
true. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
such high level texting.
Yeah.
Oh
But
yeah, so
I mean,
the
if you want to pick first, you can. I'll let you take the first pick. It's up to you.
that sounds like more mind games, Mike.
I
So
can
you want
go
to do
just to give
first.
you an idea what I'm going with, how I'm presenting it, kind of.
Okay. I have
So
what infield, outfield, and pitching staff.
pitching, yep. So
And
I basically did for pitching. If who I'll name who I draft. I'll name who they're basically the top five starters from that year and their closer, if the
oh,
closer was noteworthy. And then same thing for infield, outfield. I don't know if I have a yeah. So the I basically just have a bunch of stats to go with why I would pick them.
so did you go, let's tell the listener, did we go by stats or like feel or a combination?
I think both. I did most of mine are teams that made it a deep playoff run or a World Series run, and then it's uh they were statistically really good, and fantasy wise, they probably would stack up if you put them all together. So
Did you, what did you like picking more, infield, outfield, or pitching?
pitching, I
Pitching.
had way more fun researching the pitching. Yeah, because it was
How,
you forget the seasons these
oh
guys
yeah,
put together.
I
So
have one I want to point to. Even if I don't make that pick, I definitely
yeah,
talk some of my, because
yeah.
how did you do your research? Tell us how you,
I basically just did. I started with last 10 World Series matchups, went baseball reference for those all those teams, and then would be like, all right, this team, the infield was the best, or the pitching was the best, or so on and so forth, and then pick. Because there's some teams that were great World Series teams, but as a collective, not really any individual guys stepped out.
Mhm.
And then there's some that it was maybe three or four players that carried them most of the way throughout the whole season. So
Okay, so why don't we do it? And then whatever we don't pick, we could do like honorable mentions because I
yeah, we can talk about because yeah, there's definitely I would like to talk about teams even if they don't get picked. Some of them. So
okay. Why don't you
all right,
pick the
I'll go first.
okay.
So and then obviously the draft style way is if I'm going outfield first, so now you don't have to pick outfield until third. So first pick overall, 2018 Red Sox outfield.
Okay.
So that's the honorable mention for that. I'm putting Jackie Bradley as the fourth outfielder.
Hmm.
Gold Glove that year in center field. Left field, Andrew Benintendi, 10 home runs, 87 RBIs. Uh, Center field, Mookie Betts, MVP, Gold Glove, Silver Slugger, 10.7 WAR, which led all of Major League Baseball. 32 home runs, 80 RBIs, and 30 steals. And then right field was JD Martinez, 43 home runs, 130 RBIs, and fourth in MVP voting.
I found it hard. I went really hard on the infield and I was doing my stats and then I was like, this is taking too long. I can't do this. So
That's what happened to me is I took way too much time on pitching. So I
yeah.
was like, if I don't get the 2018 Red Sox outfield, I'm screwed.
Well, why don't I? Okay, so what I'll do, that's I see what you're doing. All right, so I'll go with first off, good pick. And then
Thank
I'll
you.
go, we're in our 10-minute window. We got to speed it up a little here,
All
but I'll
right.
go with pitching staff. Now I don't have stats here
Okay.
for this because I kind of trailed off at the end. Pitching I did
You're good.
last. My infield's really heavily statistics. So I'm gonna go with the 2011 Philadelphia Phillies. That was
Pitching. I like that.
pitching staff. So I don't know their closer actually, but Roy
I'll
Halladay.
find it for you.
Oh, it's Brad Lidge probably, just by memory. But
Yep.
Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, Cole Hamels, Roy Oswalt, and then Joe Blanton. And that's when pitchers hit. Joe Blanton in that World Series. Was that the year they won? 2011? No, they won '08.
Yep. Oh eight, oh nine. Yeah.
So what am I? I'm in the 14 year, 15, we'll go 15 years.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, that staff just, I remember fighting with Lute about this. He said it was the best pitching staff ever, trying to get under my skin about the Braves with Maddox, Smoltz, and Glavine. But if you look at those, I mean, you're facing Roy Oswalt, an older Roy Oswalt, as their fourth. Roy
Yep.
Halladay, I think, if in those playoffs or the '08, he threw that perfect game in against the Reds.
Yeah, in the divisional round. Yep.
And then like Cliff Lee was so fun to watch. Cole Hamels ended up being their number one when they left. I mean, that was such a great staff.
Yeah, so I have some. So Roy Halladay led the league in WAR that year, 8.8. Cliff Lee was 8.5. Cole Hamels 6.4. So they three top pitchers were probably in the top 10 in WAR.
Wow.
Um, and then Halladay, Cliff Lee, and Cole Hamels finished second, third, and fifth in Cy Young voting that year.
Who won that year? Can you see that? I'll look
Mm,
that up. You do your next
okay,
pick.
yeah, and then all right, I'll go. So since you went pitching, I'll save my pitching for last. I'll go infield. Um,
Okay.
Infield, I'm going 2023 Rangers.
Okay.
So that's also catcher Jonah Heim, 18 home runs, 95 RBIs. Third base Josh Young, 23 home runs, 70 RBIs. Nate Lowe at first. He played 161 games that year, 17 home runs and 82 RBIs. And then the two shining stars for that infield, Corey Seager, Silver Slugger, 7.2 WAR, 33 home runs, 96 RBIs. And then Marcus Simeon played 162 games that year, came in third in MVP voting, Silver Slugger, um, 29 home runs and 100 RBIs, 7.7 WAR.
Uh, I forgot catcher. Oh,
Jonah
no.
Heim,
Isn't that
yeah,
funny?
yeah.
I
Oh,
just forgot.
I thought I forgot catcher until I looked, and I was like, oh no, it did write him down.
As you said, catcher, I was like, oh, but that fits the mode of how I think about catchers.
How we think about baseball in general, yeah,
Yeah. That's a good one. I mean, they could hit. That was a really, Simeon, that was the year he went off
yep.
because he hasn't been the same, I don't think.
No, he's having a rough year this year. He's
Um,
batting
I'll
ninth.
I'll go with okay, so Clayton Kershaw won the 2011 Cy Young, just so everyone
Okay,
knows. And then I'll go infield too. And I'm gonna go with a hated team, the 2019 Houston Astros. They were first in the AL West, but they lost the World Series that year to the Nationals. They had Yuli Gurriel at first, 3.9 WAR, Jose Altuve at second with a 3.7 WAR, Correa at short with a 3.8 WAR, and then this is the reason I'm picking this one. Alex Bregman at third. He had an 8.9 WAR that year. He was an
wow,
all-star and silver slugger. He actually got second in MVP voting that year to Mike Trout. But his
wow.
numbers were outrageous, like 296, 423, 592. That's his batting average, on base percentage, and slugging. And I was looking up like what's a good on base percentage? And like 340 is a solid on base percentage.
Hmm.
Over 400's elite. He had a 423 on base percentage. He had the most walks he's ever had in his career that year with 120. I didn't know Bregman had a year like that. So
Yeah,
he's demanding money and all this year. I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, Alex Bregman. But
yeah.
when I saw that, I'm like, okay, Alex Bregman.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I made it a point I didn't want to pick any Astros because I knew they probably had some of the best units ever, like especially the last 5 or 10 years. Yeah.
Well, the 2018 pitching staff's on mine.
Yep.
Verlander, Cole,
Yep.
Keuchel. If
Pitching, pitching. I'm obviously my heart wants a certain pick, but I'm not picking it. That would have been the 2015 Mets,
I
but
have
I'm
that on
not.
mine. Yeah.
I'm actually going to go back to 2019. I'm going with the Nats 2019 pitching staff. That's Steven Strasburg, 18-6, 209 innings, led the league, came in fifth in Cy Young, 15th in MVP voting. Patrick Corbin was 14-7, 11th in Cy Young. Max Scherzer, 11-7, 12.7 K per nine, led the league and three came in third in Cy Young voting. And then Anibal Sanchez and Eric Fetty rounding out. And Sean Doolittle at closer
Oh yeah.
pitched 50. He had 55 games finished, which led the league, and 29 saves.
That's when they won that year. They beat that Astros team.
Yeah.
And that was Strasburg won the World Series MVP.
Yep.
That's a good one. That was on my radar too. My outfield would be I have two on here, but I forgot the stats for the 2014 Kansas City Royals. But a theme here is Lorenzo Cain. So I'm gonna go 2018 Milwaukee Brewers. Lorenzo
Nice.
Cain had a 6.8 WAR he was an all-star. I couldn't believe he was that good. Kane was really, really good. Ryan Braun just under a one WAR, so this was after he was good, after his MVP, PED,
Yeah,
yelling at people. But then Christian Yelich was the MVP that year, and he was an all-star and silver slugger with a 7.3 WAR. So that outfield right there, Kane, Braun, Yelich,
that was a great team. Yeah.
Domingo Santana, if you know that, he was, I guess, Ryan Braun's platoon mate. But
Hmm.
it was fun looking through this. This was a good idea, Mike.
Yeah. Pitching was I had a real fun time with. Honorable mention, obviously, 2015 Mets. That was DeGrom, Harvey, and Syndergaard's rookie season. He had a 10.0 K per nine in his rookie year. And then Bartolo Colon led the league in walks per nine that year as well, 1.1. So,
Right, right.
and
He
then
was,
the 2016 Cubs was the other pitching staff that was phenomenal. That was John Lester, 19-5 with a 2.44 ERA, second in Cy Young. Jake Arrieta, 18-8. Kyle Hendricks, 16-8, led the league in ERA. And then John Lackey, 11-8. Jason Hamill, 15-10. So every starter had a winning record that year for the Cubs.
we should do this again, try and get more people involved because this is fun to just reminisce on these teams. I mean,
Yeah.
what you just, the names, John Lackey, John
Yep.
Lester, Jake
Jake
Arrieta.
Arrieta. Yep.
Um, one thing I want to point out is I went deep, deep, 2000 Cleveland Indians infield, Jim Thome, Roberto Alomar, Omar Vizquel, and Travis Fryman. Travis Fryman's numbers are out of this. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it's just he had a higher WAR than oh no, Roberto Alomar had the highest WAR, but that was his worst season in Cleveland. So it's just fun.
That's what's fun to see is go back and look at because they didn't talk about war when we watched baseball then.
Right.
So
Yeah.
when you go back and look and you're like, holy shit, these seasons were way better than you even realized at the time.
Um, we are under a minute here, so let's sign off. But that was really fun. I think we should keep these notes. Maybe we'll
Yep.
do it again with more people.
Yeah, for sure.
If anyone's listening, come on next time. We would love to have you. Um, we're signing off. Thanks, Mike. Good luck this weekend.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.